Hello everyone. Today is a new day, new life, new beginning, and new lesson. Once again, I'm Teacher Angie. Our lesson for today is about solving quadratic equation by factoring. First is GCF. Pag sinabi natin GCF, ito yung tinatawag nating greatest common factor. So may mga steps tayong dapat sundin. Una ay find the GCF of all the terms in the given equation. So sa equation natin, kukunin natin ang greatest common factor ng lahat ng terms. Pagkatapos nating makuha ang GCF, ay i-divide natin ang lahat ng terms by the GCF. Okay? Pagkatapos natin i-divide, ay isusulat natin ngayon ang sagot natin sa 2 as factors. Okay? And then pagkatapos, i-transform natin ito sa quadratic equation into standard form. Okay? So from quadratic equation to standard form. And then, solve each resulting equation. So, isa-solve na natin siya by equating both the factors by 0. And then, check your answer by substituting the variable obtained to its original equation. So, kung gusto nyong i-check, pwede. Okay? Kung ano man yung result ng value ng variable nyo, let's say x, then i-substitute lang natin sa original equation. Kung equal yung answers, then your answer is correct. So, meron tayong example dito, 8x squared plus 2x is equal to 0. So, ang term natin dito ay dalawa lang, 2x and then 8x squared. Una ay hahanapin natin ang GCF ng dalawa. So, unahin natin ang numbers. So, 8 and 2, ang common factor nila ay 2. Okay? And then x squared and x, ang common factor nila ay x. So, sa variable, when it comes to variable, ang pagkuha ng GCF natin, kung common yung variable, titingnan natin ang exponent. Ang pinakamaliit na exponent, yun ang GCF nila. Okay? So, 8 and 2, ang GCF nila ay 2. And then sa x squared and x ang GCF nila. Kaya 2x ang GCF natin. And then, i-divide natin ngayon si first term, 8x squared divided by 2x is equal to 4x. And then, 2x divided by 2x is 1. Okay? So, pagkatapos nun ay syempre, isulat natin siya as factor. So, we have 2x, close and open parenthesis, 4x plus 1. Pagkatapos nun ay gagawin na natin ang number 4 step. Okay? And then, number 5, solve its resulting equation. So, meron na tayong 2x is equal to 0 and 4x plus 1 is equal to 0. And then, kunin natin ang value nito. Of course, ano man ang number ng katabi ni variable x, i-divide natin yun both sides. So, divided by 2, cancel na si 2 and 2. Therefore, x is equal to 0. Kasi 0 divided by 2 is equal to 0. Next, 4x plus 1 is equal to 0. And then, i-transpose natin si positive 1 sa right side ni equal sign or over equal sign. So, meron na tayong 4x is equal to, kung ililipat natin ito sa kabila, papalitan na natin ang sign. So, positive, nagiging negative. And then, to isolate x or para makuha natin ang value ni x, anuman ang number na katabi ni variable x, ay i-divide natin ito. So, divided by 4 and divided by 4. So, cancel na si 4 and 4. Then, x now is equal to negative 1/4. Therefore, the value of x are 0 and negative 1/4. I-check natin kung tama ang sagot natin. So, from original equation, we have x squared plus 2x equal to 0. Then, gamitin natin isa lang dito para at least hindi masyadong mahaba. Okay? So, i-prove lang natin na tama ang sagot natin. So, gagamit tayo ng negative 1/4. So, 8 times ang value ng x is negative 1/4 squared plus copy 2 multiplied by the value of x, which is negative 1/4. 1/4, negative 1/4 ang ginamit natin. Huwag ng 0. So, equal to 0. And then, square muna natin ang negative 1/4. So, 8 times negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. All over 4 times 4 is 16. So, 16. Next, 2 times negative 1/4 is equal to, so positive times negative, negative. 2 times 1 is 2. All over 4. Next, we have now 8 times 1 is 8 over 16 minus 2 over 4. After that, of course, 8 over 16 is equal to 1/2. Minus 2/4 is also 1/2. And 1/2 minus 1/2 is equal to 0. So 0 is equal to 0. So the answer is correct. Next, perfect square trinomial. So ano yung mga steps na gagawin natin? First, find the square root of the first term and the third term of the trinomial. Ulitin natin yung unang term and yung last term or third term. Okay, square root. Next, number 2 step, square root of the first term plus or minus. So, ang paglagay natin ng sign is depende sa sign ng second term. Okay? Then, square root of the third term. Next ay each resulting equation by equating both factors to 0. And then, check the answer by substituting the variable obtained to its original equation. Bigyan natin ng halimbawa para maintindihan ang steps. So, example, 100x squared minus 20x plus 1. So, ang sabi dito, find the square root of the first term and the last term. Okay? Ang 100 is a perfect root, which is 10 squared, and 1 is 1 squared. So, meron tayong 10 and 10, and then 1 is 1 and 1. Why? Because 10 times 10 is 10 squared. 1 times 1 is 1. Okay, gaya ng sinabi natin kanina, ang middle term tayo magbe-base. So, since this is negative and the last term is positive, then ang factor natin ay parehong negative. Kasi negative times negative is positive. Okay? So, i-check natin kung tama ang middle term natin. Paano mag-check? Mean and extreme lang. Negative 1 times positive 10 is negative 10x. And then, 10x times negative 1 is negative 10x. Negative 10x plus negative 10x is negative 20x. Okay? So, the factors are correct. Next, bakit pala tinawag na perfect square trinomial? Perfect square trinomial kasi ang factors ay pareho. Okay? So, ito pwede natin siyang isulat ng 10x minus 1 squared. Okay? X squared sa labas. Okay? Next, 10x minus 1 is equal to 0 na. So, since pareho sila, isa lang ang gagamitin natin. Okay? So, ang magiging sagot natin dito ay isa lang. So, 10x minus 1 is equal to 0. And then, isolate x, ililipat natin si negative 1 sa kabila. So, 10x is equal to si negative 1, ilipat natin sa kabila ng equal sign, magiging positive 1. And then, divide both sides by 10 para makuha natin ang value ng x. Okay? Then, 10x divided by 10, cancel na si 10 and 10. Then, x now is equal to 1 over 10. Therefore, or the value of x is 1 all over 10. I-check natin kung tama ang ating sagot. So, kopyahin lang ang original equation, which is 100x squared minus 20x plus 1. And then, ang value ng x ay 1 over 10. So, we have 100 times 1 over 10 squared minus 20 times 1 over 10 plus 1. I-perform muna natin ang exponent. And then, dito naman ay multiply na natin. So, 100 times 1 times 1 is 1, 10 times 10 is 100, minus 20 times 1 is 20, all over 10, plus 1. And then, i-perform muna natin to. We have 100 times 1 is 100 all over 100 minus 20 divided by 10 is 2 plus 1. And then 100 divided by 100 is 1 minus 2 plus 1. And of course, 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 minus 2 is 0 is equal to 0. Therefore, our answer is correct. Next, difference of the squares. Ano yung mga steps nito? Una, find the two identical factors of the first term and the second term. Kasi ang difference of these squares ay dalawa lang ang terms natin. First term and the second term. Wala tayong linear term or the middle term. Next, factors of the first term plus factors of the second term times factor of the first term minus factor of the second term. Bali, ang magiging factor natin ay ganito. Pareho lang yung mga terms but they have or factors but they have different sign. Next, solve its resulting equation by equating both factors to 0. And then after that, of course, we can check by substituting the variable obtained to its original equation. So, example natin dito ay 121 minus 4x squared. So, ang 121, ang identical factors nila ay 11 and 11, and 4 and x squared, 2 and 2, and then x and x. Therefore, our factors are 11, 11, 2x, 2x. Again, pareho lahat ang terms, ang sign lang ang magkaiba. So, this is plus, this is minus. Okay? And then, equate na natin siya. 11 plus 2x is equal to 0. And 2x now is equal to, so transpose 11 over equal sign. Ilipat natin sa kabila. So, meron na tayong 2x is equal to, from positive, magiging negative. Kasi inilipat na natin siya. To isolate x, divide both sides by 2. So, 2x divided by 2 is equal to negative 11 over 2. Then, cancel ang 2 and 2. Then, x now is equal to negative 11 over 2. At yung isa naman, syempre, 11 minus x equal to 0. Ganun din ang steps. Ilipat na lang natin si negative 2x since siya ang negative para maging positive siya. Kasi si variable, hindi siya pwedeng maging negative. So, ililipat natin si negative 2x over equal sign, magiging positive na siya. So, meron na tayong 11 is equal to 2x. To isolate x, anuman ang number na katabi ni x, i-divide natin yun both sides. Kaya meron na tayong 11 over 2 is equal to 2x over 2. To isolate x, cancel na si 2 and 2. Then, x now is equal to positive 11 over 2. Therefore, the roots or values of x are 11 over 2 and negative 11 over 2. Check na natin siya kung tama ang ating sagot. So, kopyahin lang ang original equation which is 121 minus 4x squared is equal to 0. And then, i-substitute natin one of these. Isa lang kasi we do not have enough space. So, 121 minus 4 times, okay, gagamitin natin si negative 11 over 2 squared. Then, i-perform muna natin ang exponents. So, meron na tayong 121 minus 4 multiplied by 11 times 11 is 121 all over 2 times 2 is 4. Next, si 4 at saka si 4 pwede nang i-cancel. Okay? Kasi, whole number and then denominator. Kaya meron na tayong 121 minus 121 which is 0 is equal to 0. Therefore, our answer is correct. Next is we have quadratic trinomial. Sa lahat ng mga factors, ito ang medyo complicated. Okay? At hini-hate ng lahat kasi medyo mahirap. Pero pag nasundan ninyo, madali lang din naman siya. So, steps. First, find the product of the coefficient A and C. This is off, okay? Next, Ano yung a and c dito? Kapag isinulat natin siya by ax squared plus bx plus c, so kukunin natin ang value ni a and then c. Find two factors of the product of a and c such that if applied by addition rule, the value is equal to the middle terms of the quadratic trinomial. So, i-explain natin yan mamaya. Next ay, i-divide the coefficient of a by the first factor and do the same in the second factor. And then reduce the fraction if possible. Or pwede siyang i-lowest term, then lowest term. Next step, multiply the numerator by the variable used. Kung x ang ginamit, x, i-multiply natin siya by x. And then copy the denominator. Then write your final answers as factors. And then solve each resulting equation by equating both factors to 0. And then of course, you can check it if you want by substituting the variable obtained to its original equations. Okay, sa example, meron tayong x squared minus 6x minus 16. So, paano natin malalaman ang A, B, C dito? So, ang A ay yung nasa first term natin. Ano man ang number nandito, yun yung A natin. So, walang nakasulat dito, meaning to say may 1 dito. 1 is invisible, ulitin ko. So, ang A is 1. And then, ang C natin ay yung last number, which is negative 16. So, kunin natin si value ng A and C, A times C. So, A is 1, C is negative 16. So, 1 times negative 16 is negative 16. Next ay, ito. So, we have now, AC is equal to negative 16. Kukunin natin ang factor ni negative 16. Na kung inad natin yon, ang magiging sagot ay yung middle term natin. Okay. So, ano ang factor ni 16? Pwedeng 1 and 16. Kung inad natin si 1 and 16, it's either 17 or 15. Hindi pwede. Kasi negative 6 siya. Another factor niya is 2 and 8. Okay? Dalawa lang pagpipilian natin. Add or subtract. So, 8 plus 2, 10. Hindi pwede. I-subtract natin siya. 8 minus 2, 6. Okay? So, possible. So, meaning to say, gagamit tayo ng 2 and 8. Dapat si 2 ay positive, ang 8 ay negative. Para makuha natin ang negative sign. Okay? Kaya meron tayo dito 2 plus negative 8. So, ito yung middle term natin. Pagkatapos nun ay i-divide natin si first factor, which is 2, A over factor 1. So, ang A natin ay 1. So, 1 all over first factor 2. And then, the same thing with factor 2, which is negative 8. A over factor 2 is equal to 1 over negative 8. Then, pagkatapos nun ay i-multiply natin si variable na ginamit, which is x, sa numerator, and then add natin sa denominator. So, x times 1 plus 2. So, isusulat na natin to as factor. So, x times 1 is x plus 2. Ito na ang first factor natin. And the second factor, a, which is 1 times the variable x minus ang denominator natin, a. So, x times 1 is x minus 8. Ito ang second factor natin. Since meron na tayong mga factors, i-equate na natin siya by zeros. Okay? So, x plus 2 is equal to 0. Then, to isolate x, i-transpose natin si positive 2 over equal sign. Kaya meron tayong x is equal to negative 2. Bakit naging negative? Kasi pag naglipat tayo ng number sa kabila ng equal sign, papalitan natin ang sign. Kaya from positive, naging negative na siya. Next ay x minus 8 is equal to 0. So, the same step, ililipat natin si negative 8 sa kabila ng equal sign. Si negative 8 ay magiging positive 8. So, x na is equal to positive 8. Therefore, our roots are negative 2 and 8. So, kung gusto nyo i-check, pwede lang, gamitin lang ang x squared minus 6x minus 16 is equal to 0. Mamili lang kayo sa dalawa na gagamitin to substitute the value of x. Okay? Next, solve the quadratic equations by factoring. So, dito, i-apply na natin ang apat na klase ng factoring na natutunan natin. So, example number 1, we have 5x squared is equal to 15x. Dito, i-apply natin ang GCF. So, first step, ilipat muna natin si 15x sa kabila ng equal sign sa left side. So, ang rules, pag maglipat tayo, papalitan natin ang sign. So, meron na tayong 5x squared minus 15x is equal to 0. Then, kunin na natin ang kanilang GCF. So, unahin natin ang numbers. So, 5 and 15. Ang factors nila ay 5. And then, x squared and x. Ang GCF nila ay x lang. Kunin natin ang pinakamaliit ng exponent, which is x. So, meron na tayong 5x. And then, i-divide na natin ang equation sa GCF natin. So, 5x squared divided by 5x. Ang natira ay x, so may x dito. Then, copy the sign minus. Next, 15x divided by 5x is 3. Kaya mayroon tayong 3 dito. So, since nakasulat na siya in factor form, then equate na natin silang pareho ng 0. So, unahin natin ang 5x is equal to 0. And then, to get the value of x, divide natin both sides by 5. So, 5x over 5 is equal to 0 over 5. Cancel na ang 5 and 5. Then, x is equal to 0 divided by 5 is 0. Dito, pag ganito na siya, variable with number is equal to 0, automatic na ang x na natin dito ay 0. Ipinakita ko lang yung long method para at least makita ninyo why. Next, si x minus 3 na tayo. So, x minus 3 is equal to 0. Ililipat natin si constant negative 3 over equal sign para ma-isolate si x. So, yung negative 3 magiging positive 3. Kaya meron tayong x is equal to 3. Therefore, the values of x are 0 and 3. Next example, x squared minus 4x plus 3. So, ito i-apply natin yung last kind of factoring. So, kukunin natin ang value ni a and c. Ang a natin ay 1. Ang c natin ay positive 3. 1 times 3 is 3. Okay. Next. So, a times c is equal to 3. Okay. Susunod, kailangan hanapin natin ang factor ni 3 na kung pinag-add natin sila ay makukuha natin ang middle term. Pero, ang sagot ay positive 3. So, since ang middle term ay negative, and then, ang sign natin ay dapat negative pareho. Bakit? Kasi positive ang last number. So, negative times negative is positive. And then, kapag in-add natin, ang sagot ay negative 4. So, negative 1 plus negative 3. The rules in adding like sign, copy the sign and then add the value or the number. So, 1 plus 3 is 4 and then copy the sign negative. So, the middle term is negative. So, ang factor natin ay negative 1 and negative 3. Next, a over factor 1 is equal to, ang a natin ay 1 and then ang factor 1 is negative 1. And then, factor 2, we have a over factor 2 is equal to 1, ang a natin, over factor 2 is negative 3. Susulat na natin ito in factor form, i-multiply natin by the variable na ginamit natin, which is x. So, x times 1 minus, copy the denominator 1. So, x times 1 is x, copy minus 1. So, ito ang first factor natin. The same thing with factor 2, x times 1, kasi x ang variable na ginamit natin dito. So, x times 1 is x, and then copy negative 3. So, ang second factor natin is x minus 3. And then, ready na siya to equate in to 0. So, x minus 1 is equal to 0. And then, of course, to isolate x, ilipat natin si variable or constant, negative 1, sa kabila ng equal sign. So, x now is equal to positive 1. Since inilipat natin, papalitan natin ang sign. Next is x minus 3 is equal to 0. The same step, ililipat natin si negative 3 sa kabila ng equal sign. So, magiging positive na si negative 3. So, x na is equal to 3. Therefore, the roots are 1 and 3. Next example, so number 3 example, x squared minus 8x plus 16 is equal to 0. So, gagamitin natin dito ang perfect square trinomial. So, ano ang perfect square ng first term and perfect square ng last term? So, sa first term ay 1x and 1x, of course, or simply x. Kasi yung 1 invisible. And then, ang last term is 4 and 4. Ngayon, anong magiging sign natin? Depende sa middle term. So, since negative ang sign ng middle term, kaya negative ang sign natin. Bakit? Positive ito. Yes, kasi negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. And negative 4x plus negative 4x is negative 8x. So, kung ganito ang magiging factor natin, then isa lang ang value ng x. Okay? So, ang x minus 4, pwede nating isulat into form like this. X minus 4 is squared. Kasi perfect square trinomial siya. Gaya ng sinabi ko, since pareho lang naman ang factor nila, kaya isa lang gagamitin natin. So, x minus 4 is equal to 0. To isolate x, or para isolate means mag-isa lang si x. So, ilipat natin ngayon si negative 4 over equal sign, magiging positive na si 4. Kaya x na is equal to 4. Therefore, the value of x or the root is 4. Next, example number 4, we have 225x squared minus 49 is equal to 0. Ito is difference of 2 squared. Kasi minus sign ito and then dalawang term lang sila. We have 15 and then x squared is x and x. And then 49, 7 and 7. Of course, pareho sila. Ang pagkakaiba lang ay yung sign. Next, pwede na natin kunin ang value ng x. So, equate natin both factors by 0. So, 15x plus 7 is equal to 0. Then, 15x minus 7 is equal to 0. So, unahin natin si plus. So, 15x, ilipat natin si positive 7 sa kabila ng equal sign, magiging negative 7. And then, to isolate x, ano man ang value ni x, i-divide natin both sides of the equation. So, meron na tayong 15x over 15 is equal to negative 7 over 15. Cancel na si 15 and 15. Then, x now is equal to negative 7 over 15. Ganon din ang gagawin natin sa isa. So, i-divide natin both sides by the number beside the variable x, which is 15. So, 15x all over 15 is equal to 7 over 15. Cancel na si 15 and 15. Then, x1 is equal to 7 over 15. Therefore, the values of x are negative 7 over 15 and 7 over 15. Okay, so ganyan lang ang pagkuha ng or pag-solve ng quadratic equation using factoring. So, kung may mga katanungan kayo, ay i-drop lang ninyo sa comment section sa ibaba. Okay? That's all for today. I hope you learned from this video. Bye and see you again. Please subscribe, like, and share. Thank you for watching. Keep safe and